There are tens of thousands of federal government jobs that you're eligible for you can get right now all over the country. But where are they? One of the best things you can do for your career and your salary is to move. Let's focus on the top 5 cities that have the most government job opportunities. Number 5 is Los Angeles, California, with a population of 3.8 million people. There are 1,146 federal government jobs within a 30-mile radius of this city. The average rent for an apartment in Los Angeles is $2,100 a month, and the average house price is $1.2 million. The top 3 federal agencies hiring here are the Department of Defense, Department of Transportation, and the Department of Treasury. Number 4 is New York City, with a population of 8.3 million people. There are 1,157 government jobs within a 30-mile radius of this city. Average rent for an apartment in New York City is about $3,700 a month, and the average house price here is $800,000. The top 3 federal agencies hiring in New York are the Department of Defense, the Department of Veteran Affairs, and also the Department of Treasury. Number 3 is Denver, Colorado, with a population of over 700,000 people. There are 1,248 government jobs within a 30-mile radius of Denver. Average rent for an apartment here is close to $1,700 a month. The average house price here is $614,000. Top 3 federal agencies, the Department of Defense, Department of Treasury, and also the Department of Interior. Number 2 is Seattle, Washington, with a population of 749,000 people. There are 1,316 government jobs within a 30-mile radius of this city. The average rent for an apartment in Seattle is $2,000 a month, and the average house price here is $800,000. The top 3 federal agencies here is the Department of Defense, Department of Treasury, and the Department of Transportation. Number 1, Washington, D.C., with a population of 670,000 in D.C. And you probably saw this one coming. If you were to factor in the DMV area, the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, there's over 5.5 million people that live in this area. And people who work here, sometimes they're coming from other states. Look at West Virginia, Pennsylvania, or they're flying in. There's people I know that fly in from Florida. They come to work twice a pay period and they go ahead and fly back. There are over 3,500 government jobs within a 30-mile radius of Washington, D.C. The average rent for an apartment in D.C. is about $2,200 a month, and the average house price is $625,000. Top 3 agencies here, DOD, Department of Commerce, and also the Department of Homeland Security. Now, most of my life, I lived in rural Louisiana and in Mississippi. I like the country. I like the idea of one day getting some acres, getting some land out there, maybe have some farm animals. That really speaks to me. But I'm not blind to the opportunities that are available in bigger cities. You go to bigger cities, there's more opportunities, and those opportunities are paid at a higher level. It's a trade-off at times. What season are you in life? Are you in the earning season? Because if you're in the earning season, you probably need to go to one of these bigger cities. There's a different energy when you're in a big city. People are moving frantically. Everyone's doing their own thing. You feel the need like, hey, I should be moving too. I should be working too. So that can kind of inspire some people, increases some sort of productivity. You know, case by case basis, maybe that's not you. Maybe you want to have a laptop by the creek or the pond, and that's where you do the most work. But these are some of the considerations you have to make. It takes moving a lot of the times in order to reach your full potential. When I researched these locations, I removed remote work. On USAjobs.gov right now, the remote work filter, that's on by default. I don't think that's a good idea because that gives people a false idea on the jobs that are actually within that town. All these cities and locations we just talked about, they have over 1,000 jobs in that local area, not including remote. And what you're gonna find in these larger cities, you will find GS grade inflation or salary inflation because it's harder to compete for talent in a major city when you have all these other companies that are paying high salaries. So how can the government do that? The only way that they can do it is that if they slap on locality pay, and that's why you could see 30% increases of your salary. A $100,000 salary in North Dakota, it'll end up being $130,000 in DC, or a 40% increase in salary in some places in California. That's the only way they're able to do it. But the main reason people do not want to leave their area, it comes down to 3 reasons actually. It's their friends, family, and money. Money being a huge one. How am I gonna move? It costs money. I need thousands of dollars. I understand that. The government understands that because they will offer you reimbursement for your travel expenses. And some of these jobs, if you look on USAjobs.gov, I believe there's 200 jobs right now, about 200 jobs that will reimburse you. Now, this will take time. It's not going to be automatic. Sometimes you have to wait 2, 3, 4 months to get the reimbursement, but this is an option for some people. And then you have federal employees that will just pick up and move completely towards the tail end of their career so they can increase their pension amount. So instead of getting $2,000 a month, they can get $2,500 a month because it's based off your high 3. And if your high 3 is in Mississippi, that's not going to be too high of a high 3. If your high 3 is in San Francisco, Washington, D.C., New York, that's going to be a lot larger. And that's one of the considerations when factoring your pension. It's your base pay. It's also the locality pay. They include both of those when you're doing the calculation. So that's something a lot of current employees, they're thinking about it. They've already done 20, 30 years. Maybe they're on their last 5 years. They only got a few years left. They're thinking about that move. For some people, it makes sense, especially if you don't have kids, you don't have that many responsibilities, you're a single individual, single person, single woman, single man. You can easily pick up and move, maybe stay in an apartment, studio apartment, whatever you have, but it makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. If federal government jobs interest you right now, but you're not interested in moving, you don't see that happening in the near future or at all, maybe, then you're probably interested in remote work jobs, 100% remote, where you don't have to step a foot into the office any day out of the week. You're doing it all from home, regardless of your location, as long as it's in the United States. If you're interested on 100% remote work opportunities, I want you to watch this video next. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.